So by now, most all of us have heard of the term Mercury retrograde. And I decided to make a video just to explain how I utilize that energy and the heads up that it provides, just to make my world a little bit smoother through certain times of the year that are likely to be a little more apt for confusion and some chaos. So I do thrive in chaos, and but I do like to mitigate it where I can. So the term Mercury retrograde in astrology, that term retrograde simply refers to the perception that a planet is moving backwards. Now, we are not all in this magical elliptical orbit that we can see all the other planets clearly like we can in a diagram. From our vantage point, there are certain time periods based on the angles and the skew that it looks as if from where we are, a planet, whether it's closer to the sun or the outer planets, look like they're moving backwards in their orbit. Now, it is a perception thing only. The planets really are just operating in their normal way, but it does look like they slow down. We'll just take Mercury since that's what we're talking about. It does look like that Mercury slows down and begins to move backwards, and then it will slow down again and come to a stop. And when it comes to a stop like that, it's called, or when it appears to come to a stop, it's called stationing, like when it stations. And then it will go back the right way. Now, a retrograde period technically lasts like 7 weeks. There is a shadow period where it begins to slow down. That's 2 weeks, and that's when you can kind of feel the energy change. And then it does look like it goes backwards for 3 weeks, and then it will slow down again and begin to go forward again from our vantage point, from the way we're looking at it. So that is what a Mercury retrograde is. It's a 3 period of time where the planet Mercury looks like it's moving backwards, and from our perception anyway, from the way we can see it. Now, during that time, it does happen 3 to 4 times a year, depending on the year. So it's not like one of those terribly unusual things. It's something that you can look up just pretty much any time to get an idea of when that might be happening. This month, Mercury is retrograding from August 5th until I think the 28th. But then we had the shadow period that started in July, and we will have the shadow period that carries into September as well. So that is a time period where, the planet Mercury rules things like communication and travel and tech, fast moving communication, especially. That's why technology falls into that. So it's a time period when it can get kind of glitchy. You can send the wrong email, or you can send or a wrong email, or you can send the email to the wrong person. That would be a time period where you'd be more likely to not be thinking, not be honed in enough, that you may actually hit reply all and you meant to just reply to one person. Technology can get very glitchy. Your computer can act up. Your phone service can be a little worse. Travel, there could be a lot of travel delays. You may forget to pack something. You may forget to bring your passport. It can be anything like that. It can also be a lot of miscommunication, not being clear with what you're trying to say, somebody taking you the wrong way. It can just be a tone thing. Forgetting to send a text. You could type the whole text out, forget to hit the button send. It could be your appliances at home. It could be your TV acting up on the fritz, your car. There's cars today have so much electronic. They have so many electronics involved in how they run that you could have car issues. You could run into traffic, anything like that involves travel. Also, it does affect contracts. So Mercury retrogrades are a really great time to be sure that you're reading the details of a contract. It is not a time to forget to dot your I's and cross your T's. It's just that kind of vibe. Anything having to do with the planet Mercury, it's just a time to really focus, and be very careful that way. Now, one way that we do, I like this, if you go, an easy way to remember this is to go back to the RE words. And I did have to write them down and make a list because I always forget when I'm trying to rattle them off. But like, this is a time period when you will want to revisit things, reassess things, renew things, review things. It's a time for reconnecting with things that maybe you have put off, people that you need to reach out to, revise, rework, anything with those RE, the letters RE at the beginning. It's not a great time to jump in and start something new. And I say that because, well, the caveat is we can't always plan starting new things at a time when it's not Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde happens a lot and life is just life. But if you do engage in something new, it would be a great time to slow down and make sure that you're doing it right. I equate the energy of Mercury retrograde. If you were in a car and you were pulling out onto a highway and you put the gas, you put your foot on the gas pedal, you for the most part, you can accelerate and you can keep a steady motion. Mercury retrograde would be a time period where you ease off the gas. Your car can still go forward. It's probably not a great time to push forward with things. It would be the breather. You can see it in the stock market right now. It's happening where there is a pullback, and I know it's panicky for a lot of people to look at their 401ks and their retirements and know that they're taking a dip. But people that actually read financial charts, and thankfully, Charlie taught me to trade years and years ago, so I am okay with understanding what financial charts look like, and we are due for a pullback. So this wasn't a big surprise. It doesn't make everyone feel better to know that they have less money in their accounts. However, when you look at the charts and you look at the history and you understand that you can only accelerate for so long before you need to drop back and take a breather, financial markets work like that also. There is a breathing rhythm to the markets. And so we are in a pullback. That wasn't a surprise for me to see that, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Mercury retrograde, but it is that energy of not plowing forward. Instead, ease off the gas. Take this time period in August to rework things, to, if you have been making headway in projects or around your home, this is a time to ease back and make sure you've done things properly. If you have subscriptions, that are going to be renewing, take a look so that your budget doesn't get hit with you not paying attention to that. If you're signing contracts, you can't avoid everything during a Mercury retrograde, but be sure to read carefully. If you're submitting things and putting out into the world communications and projects, go over them with a fine-tooth comb right now. Make sure you're saying what you want to say. It's a time to be very deliberate. Now, having said that, there is an issue this time around, because every time Mercury retrograde happens, it happens in a different sign. And it begins in Virgo this time. And Virgo is already an incredibly organized and thoughtful energy. That's what it is. So you add a Mercury retrograde to that Virgo energy. And what that means is there is a tendency that you may become obsessive about perfection. It could be that you are trying so hard to wrangle a situation because you want it to be perfect that you almost you try so hard with it that you break the situation. It's that attempt of holding on too tight. Things have to be too perfect, and that can honestly add to a lot of mental strain. It can add to a demeanor that's very nitpicky. It can be just really not being able to get something the way you want because you're holding on too tight. Your ideas you need it to be too perfect. So again, ease up and let life happen and take things slow and, have your patience. It is a great time to become aware of things that might need to become more organized. If your budget has gotten a little out of hand, this is a great time. And the Virgo energy will work with you to set a better budget, to get more organized, to, get things back in order. Just be aware that your tendency might be to want to make something too perfect. So remember to have patience with yourself and the situation and other people during this time. And this is a really great energy to remember during the first part of August. Not everything has to be perfect. Everyone's going back to school. And so it's a new school year, and people might not be in the right classroom. The teacher might not know everyone's name right away. So it's just that time period to be easy with yourself, be easy with others. Don't try to make such big headway that you know, we forget that things are still undone. We still need to like shore some things up. So foot off the gas a little bit, renew, revisit, reassess, that kind of thing. And then just it's almost like just take a breath. Now, the second part of Mercury retrograde will be in Leo. And that is equally as difficult to manage in a way, because Leo energy is all about what you put out. It's putting your best foot forward. It is the face that you wear. It's your appearance. It's your image. And so you take a time period where normally, under normal circumstances, those things probably will work fine. But you add it to a Mercury retrograde energy, and what that can do is amplify it to the point that there could be high drama, ego clashes. There could be a lot of mixed signals sent, and they will be loud. Like you may really fly off the handle at something, but maybe you misheard. So it would be the equivalent of hearing news that wasn't exactly right or true, and then having this very exaggerated reaction to it. And that's how everyone's going to see you. They're going to see you in this exaggerated manner, but maybe you didn't have the right facts. So be on guard for that. Just keep things in check, manage your emotions. So if I had to say anything about this particular Mercury retrograde is, especially at the beginning of it, here in the first half of August, just to slow down and breathe and make your lists and check them twice, check them 3 times. If things need scheduled maintenance, that's what I use Mercury retrograde for, is I always put it on a calendar so that I know when just going into it, I have it on my calendar to go ahead and back up my computer, clean out the cache. If there are things that need some regular maintenance, I just do it right before. So to me, I'm doing certain things that are good practice anyway. And the idea of a Mercury retrograde just kind of kicks me in the butt enough to actually write it down and do it. So the first part, just slow down and make sure that you don't have super high expectations right now. Like things will progress, and September is going to promise to kick back up, and we'll see some time to work and really dig in. We move into Virgo season in late August, and that is a good time to work and put your head down and do it. But for now, just take it a little slower, have less like perfectionist expectations, and try not to be super nitpicky. And then the second half of August, you may want to work with managing your own emotions and your reactions to things, knowing full well there could be miscommunications, knowing full well everyone could be a little bit on edge. You're not, we all are experiencing the same energy. So to keep your ego in check and work on managing your emotions. Those are the 2 things: slow down and managing emotions. Those would be my advice in terms of August in terms of the Mercury retrograde. So I hope this helped a little. It's really nothing to fear. Of course, a lot of people think it's just hogwash, and that's fine too. I like astrology. I like it from the standpoint of what it offers me in my life to make my life go a little bit smoother. And this is just a time period where you can expect a little more confusion, some chaos. A lot of astrologers make it like they use the metaphor of like a funhouse mirror, where our perception just gets a little bit skewed. And through technology, through communication, with us trying to have plans to get other places, and if we just slow down a little, have some patience, and tend to what we need to tend to, so that every step that we climb is a solid one. We don't want to run up too fast. You don't want to go too fast headlong into a project without shoring up the steps that it took to get there. And that is a time period where you can just breathe and go back and make sure things are as solid as you want them to be. It's almost like you get permission to do that, because you should, if you pay attention to yourself and your own rhythms at all, that that is a time period. You will find yourself naturally wanting to just take a rest and ease into something. Step forward for sure, but do it slowly, cautiously. Pay a lot of attention to the things that you're doing and signing for the first time, especially. You really do want to just make sure that the communication part is on point. So, if you have any questions about that or you want to talk about it further, feel free to reach out and I will talk to you later. Bye.